Francis Davis is a professor of public policy at the University of Birmingham. He joins us now live from London. Welcome to the programme. Talk to us about the significance of today's ruling.
It's absolutely huge because it establishes the legal precedent, not really just to outsource this challenge to Rwanda, but to outsource this challenge in general. So we will start with Rwanda, and now the British government will start looking for other governments that will be willing to take refugees from our shores and distribute them to other places. And that's very, very challenging because we're outsourcing our responsibilities to the frailest in the planet.
And we heard that, Amnesty International, called it bitterly disappointing. Talk to us a bit more about the reaction and what happens next after this ruling.
Well, so, I mean, Rwanda is a country I know well. I've done a lot of research there, and it has made huge strides since the genocide in the early 90s and sought to rebuild the capacity of its state. But it still has performance goals and its welfare protection policies of, wouldn't it be nice one day if we could get to a situation where it's only a 2-hour walk to the nearest health facility, where pension contributions only cover 8% of the population, where there's very high unemployment the moment you get outside the capital. And lots of Western policymakers, when they encounter Rwanda, they're only introduced to Kigali, the capital, where the systems and institutions work. But within 60 miles of the capital, that peters out, like it does in lots of African and Asian countries. And so you have the struggles of unsupported rural areas. So what this policy does is it says, well, outsource you to Rwanda. You might have a short interregnum of 4 weeks in the capital where the systems work, but then you're going to be in a place where you live and you die by your cultivation. If you've got high blood pressure, you're finished. If you've got a kid, got psychological needs because of the transitions, you've got problems. Now, if that's the general principle that we want to take, then Amnesty absolutely has a point, because actually we're simply taking very vulnerable people and dropping them into high-risk situations.
And Francis, is there a practical plan for dealing with people that genuinely are seeking asylum in the UK? And we saw even just last week people dying in the English Channel.
Yeah, so the reason that they've been driven to the Channel is because all of the other pathways have been shut. And if they were open, large numbers of those who've made their way to the Channel would be coming through formal application procedures from the UN, from France, from Belgium, from Turkey, from Hungary. But because all those pathways have been closed off, the one funnel that's left to them is to find their way across the Channel for £5,000. And what's really striking is if they make it to the beaches, about 75% of those that then get processed, and it takes a long time, turn out to be genuine refugees. So if we could open up the legitimate channels from the camps that Turkey's been so hospitable to look after, and Hungary has, and all sorts of other countries has, what we might find is that there is a pathway in, and then we need a national plan to distribute those refugees to places where there are population gaps and skills gaps. The way the government's going about it at the moment is simply to say, we'll shut down and we'll refuse to recognise the generosity of fantastic countries like Turkey. We'll drive people onto the beaches and then we'll send them to Africa. And that's just poor management as well as bad human rights.
Francis, really great to get your perspective. Francis Davis from the University of Birmingham. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.